What if I told you there is a seed that delivers complete protein, more iron than spinach, and more calcium than milk? It grows in 90 days. It thrives in drought. It survives on soil that kills wheat. For 8,000 years, it was the engine of civilizations across 3 continents. Then, in one generation, it was erased. Not because it failed, because it worked too well. A food so powerful that conquerors burned fields and severed hands just to stop people from growing it. This is the story of the food we abandoned just before we needed it most. There is a seed that defies everything we have been taught about nutrition. It carries 14 grams of protein per 100 grams. That is more than rice, more than oats, more than wheat. It contains all 9 essential amino acids, making it one of the rarest complete proteins in the plant kingdom. It holds nearly 8 milligrams of iron per serving, enough to meet the daily needs of most adults. It provides 160 milligrams of calcium. It is rich in magnesium, phosphorus, and potassium. It packs more fiber than quinoa and more antioxidants than most leafy greens. And here is the part no one explains. This seed grows faster than most grains. It matures in 60 to 90 days. It survives drought, heat, and poor soil. It requires less than half the water of wheat and less than 40% of the water of maize. In a world searching for nutrient density and climate resilience, this plant delivers both. So why does it appear on almost no modern menu? Why has it vanished from our fields, our policies, and our memory? The answer is not what you expect. The seed is called amaranth. Scientifically known as amaranthus, it spans roughly 70 species native to Mesoamerica, South America, and parts of Africa and Asia. It is not a grain. It is a pseudo-cereal, a seed used like a grain, but belonging to an entirely different botanical family. It shares more in common with spinach and beets than with wheat or rice. Amaranth was first domesticated between 6,000 and 8,000 years ago in the valleys of central Mexico and the highlands of the Andes. Archaeological evidence places its cultivation among the earliest crops in the Americas, alongside maize and squash. The Aztecs called it huautli. The Incas grew a related species called kiwicha. Both civilizations treated it not as a supplement, but as a foundation. Its rapid growth, dense nutritional profile, and ability to thrive in extreme heat made it indispensable. And here is the part history tried to bury. This plant once rivaled maize in importance. It represented up to 80% of Aztec caloric intake before conquest. And that dependence is exactly why it could not be allowed to survive. Before conquest, amaranth was not a luxury. It was daily fuel. The Aztec Empire collected 20,000 tons of amaranth each year as tribute from conquered provinces. That volume matched their collection of maize. The seed was popped like corn, ground into flour, boiled into porridge, and mixed with honey to form cakes. It fed warriors, laborers, priests, and children. Its leaves, rich in vitamins A and C and loaded with iron, were eaten as vegetables. Nothing was wasted. Beyond sustenance, amaranth carried cultural weight. The Aztecs shaped dough from amaranth and honey into statues of their gods, then consumed them in sacred rituals. This practice would later become its death sentence. But for centuries, amaranth did what modern agriculture still struggles to achieve. It fed entire populations through drought. It grew on marginal land. It delivered protein, minerals, and energy without requiring irrigation or fertilizers. Health was built into the food system, not sold as a product. Nutrition was not a market. And that made it incompatible with the system that was coming. Modern science has confirmed what ancient farmers knew. Amaranth grain contains between 14 and 18% protein, surpassing wheat, rice, and corn. More importantly, it is one of the few plant foods with a complete amino acid profile. It is especially rich in lysine, an essential amino acid that most grains lack entirely. Where wheat and maize fall short, amaranth fills the gap. According to the Food and Agriculture Organization, amaranth protein is superior in content and quality to traditional cereals. 1 cup of cooked amaranth provides roughly 9 grams of protein, nearly 8 milligrams of iron, and over 150 milligrams of calcium. The leaves deliver even more. Amaranth greens contain higher levels of vitamin C, calcium, and vitamin K than spinach. And unlike spinach, the nutrients in amaranth are absorbed better due to lower oxalate interference. This is a food that feeds muscles, bones, and blood without trade-offs. It does not ask you to choose between protein and minerals. It gives both in every bite. But somewhere between discovery and industry, we decided convenience mattered more than completeness. The first blow struck in 1519. When Spanish conquistadors arrived in central Mexico, they encountered a food system they could not control. Amaranth was not merely nutrition. It was woven into religious life. The Aztecs shaped images of their gods from amaranth dough and consumed them during sacred ceremonies. The Spanish saw this as pagan heresy. They banned the crop. Fields were burned. Possession of amaranth became punishable by imprisonment. Some accounts claim Hernán Cortés himself ordered the hands of cultivators to be severed. The grain that fed empires was declared ungodly and sentenced to disappear. But ideology was only the first eraser. Centuries later, a new system emerged. Industrial agriculture demanded uniformity. It favored crops that could be milled, refined, stored, and shipped. Amaranth seeds are tiny, only 1 millimeter wide. They shatter during mechanical harvest. They do not store as long as wheat. In a system built for speed and scale, a nutritionally complete food became an obstacle. The problem was never the plant. The problem was control. Amaranth was not destroyed in a single event. It was quietly excluded. It was left out of government subsidies and agricultural policies. It vanished from school curriculums and extension programs. It disappeared from seed banks and research funding. As corn, wheat, and rice received billions in support, amaranth was dismissed as primitive. No major corporation invested in its processing infrastructure. No trade group promoted its adoption. The few farmers who still grew it did so in isolation, on small plots, with no market access. By the mid-20th century, amaranth had become an orphan crop, a term scientists use for nutritious plants ignored by formal research systems. Ironically, the very traits that made it valuable, its self-sufficiency, its drought tolerance, its lack of need for chemical inputs, made it invisible to a food economy built on dependency. A plant that heals itself is not a market for pesticides. A seed that regrows each year cannot be patented. And food that provides everything does not create a market for supplements. Independence became its crime, and invisibility became the sentence. In the 1970s, something shifted. The United States National Academy of Sciences identified amaranth as a crop with promising potential for the future. Research programs were launched in Mexico, India, and parts of Africa. Scientists confirmed its drought tolerance, its heat resistance, and its ability to grow in saline and degraded soils. Amaranth uses C4 photosynthesis, the same metabolic pathway found in maize and sugarcane, allowing it to thrive in high temperatures with minimal water. Today, amaranth is grown commercially in Mexico, Peru, India, China, and parts of East Africa. Climate researchers have identified it as a climate-resilient superfood suited to regions where traditional crops are failing. The Food and Agriculture Organization now lists it among underutilized crops with potential for food security. What vanished was never inferior. It was ahead of its time. The grain we abandoned 500 years ago may now become the foundation of survival for a warming planet. All it requires is that we look past what was erased and remember what was always there. Resilience. Waiting in the soil. The seed that never forgot how to survive.